Okay, so before we can get this big beast moving, heavy door, heavy vehicle, we need to warm up the glow plugs. Turning on the glow plugs is a bit of a trick. As we're about to start, we turn it to a point where this little orange light comes on. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then we should be able to. Wow. There we go. And now with the Land Rover on, you can see that there is virtually no smoke. Smoky has quit smoking, no longer a chain smoker. So this old Landy's been fixed up like properly. It's good to go for even further than the limit. And this is the 2.25 diesel engine that you're hearing purring, or at this point roaring, because the bonnet is open. A small history on the Land Rover that we've been using for virtual meerkatting for the past while. This Landy is called Smoky because back in the day when Walter, the farm owner, bought it, it smoked more than a steam train, and this was the name that was given to the Landy by the previous owners. So Walter has had this Land Rover for over 40 years, and apparently it's brought him lots of bliss as well as many tears. But he does believe that this baby over here has a soul, kind of like an old farm horse. And Old Smoky has a remarkable history, both in pedigree and a little personal. So my dad and Walter knew each other since they were about 8 years old, and Smoky played a role in both of their lives, and as you can see now, in mine as well. This Landy is a 1977 109-inch 2.25-liter diesel pickup. Walter bought it in 1985 when he was still an engineering student. And when he showed the photo of this Land Rover to a fellow student, the student told him, like, wow, that's Smoky. My dad used to own it and we used it to tow our caravan. So the fellow student recognized the Land Rover Smoky by the various dents and scratches and galvanized bits that had been hand painted in black. Needless to say, the Land Rover was a heavy smoker at the time, and the previous owner gave all the spare glow plugs to Walter, and over time, according to his budget, he slowly started to fix Smoky up, and when he got it, there was a pint of water in the rear axle, even water in the fuel tank, the piston, bearings, cylinder head, they were all worn, which explained a lot of the smoke. The engine box and transfer box, axles, chassis, rear springs, interior and bodywork are all original. Even the wheel bearings are original. And Walter, while fixing it up, he replaced the leaf springs as well as the fuel tank. The gearbox was also partly rebuilt and the engine got a full workover. And then, remarkably, a little bit more of a history was revealed about Smoky. So back in the day, my dad had a certain girlfriend at the time, and when she saw the stickers on the Landy, Curry Motors and Land Rover Motors and all of that, she recognized the Landy as one that her family had owned. The Land Rover was working in a quarry in the Free State near a small town, I think it's Bethlehem. And before that, the Landy belonged to the South African Parks Board, allegedly. There are some signs that show that it had like a radio or like water bottle thing. So yeah, it's quite a diverse history, and it's worked really hard all its life. And Walter has made sure that it hasn't gone extinct like so many of the other Land Rovers have. On one occasion, as the story goes, they were all driving with the Land Rover in the Bushveld when the fan belt broke. And there were no cell phones back then. They were basically stranded. Walter managed to find a pair of nylon stockings from my dad's girlfriend and tightened it over the pulleys, and they completed their trip and arrived safely back home using a pair of nylon stockings. So this poor old soul is quite a beast. Um, And from the 80s, when Volta got the Landy, until today, it works on the farm as a pickup, transporting all kinds of loads between the farm and town. It also did long trips to Namibia, Botswana, Northern Natal, places like Sodwana, Cape Udell, St. Lucia, etc., etc. So since I started this channel, Virtual Meerkatting, Volta made Smoky available to me out of the kindness of his heart, and very much appreciated. Thank you. To drive around in the Bushveld, checking on my trail cameras and collecting footage, replacing batteries, putting out feed for the animals. And yeah, Smoky is not a modern vehicle. It has no information system, aircon, or even power steering. There are no electronics in the vehicle at all. It is purely mechanical. But as you navigate the dirt tracks in the field, feeling the engine heat from the floor and the soft purr of the diesel, that you know that you're driving a part of history. And if you like, you just have to wonder, like, how did such a once magnificent vehicle become extinct? But I guess that's a story for another day. So please subscribe to Virtual Meerkatting for more interesting and exciting Land Rover Chronicles.